Hi, family and friends, and any weirdos out there stalking me on the internet from Ireland. Yeah, someone was looking at my post from Ireland. I don't know who. Anyway, hi everyone. So as you know, I'm like incredibly behind on writing things because I'm kind of the worst at writing things. Anyway, I thought doing a video thing might be good to help me catch up a little bit. So I'm going to do that. We're kind of skipping a couple things because I am going to write things about the things that I've been doing the last couple weeks. Just as some heads up, I went to Salisbury and Bath. I went to Sweden. I also went to Germany and Scotland. Yeah, so fun times. There will be posts about that hopefully soon. Some of them are already partially written, so 2 of them I just gotta finish those and start writing the other ones. Anyway, so I got back from Scotland on Thursday. Once again, post will be written. And then Friday, we had a week off from school. I should mention that. I had a week off from school. So I got back, did some traveling, got back on Thursday. Friday, I stayed in. I was a little sick. Not crazy sick, but just sick enough that I didn't really want to do anything or go anywhere. So I just watched TV. But actually, I was doing schoolwork, so TV schoolwork, perfect. Yeah, I'm sorry. It doesn't look like I'm looking at the camera because I'm not, but it doesn't look like I'm looking at you, but I promise it's easier this way. So I just hung in on Friday, and then the point of the story being is Saturday morning, Papa Lannis got here. He had a week off from work, so he decided to come visit. So Papa Lannis is here in London. He's actually not here right now. He just hopped on a train. He's going to go visit the Chicks, Mr. Chick, Michael, that friend who I stayed with, who started waving his hands in that picture I took. Yeah, it's his dad. So, and I'm going to be seeing them again on Friday. It's Wednesday right now. So he's a little gone for the second, sorry. But he's been here all week, and we've been hanging out, and I'm going to write some more posts about that too. So behind on posts. But something I thought I could do right now is talk about a couple of things we've done since he got here. And what those things are is go see plays and musicals, because Mara and Papa Lannis love plays and musicals, and my dad is just, we have an air mattress in my room, so he's just been hanging out in my room, didn't have to pay for any hotels, so it's just all right, let's get all the tickets. So we did. I saw the last 3 nights we've gone and seen a show every night, 2 musicals, 1 play. And I'm just going to do a little musical play review because why not? Because I can, and there's nothing you can do about it. We're going to start with the first one that I watched, which was Monday night, because today is Wednesday. And I hope this might look backwards. I'll probably be able to flip this somehow. I apologize if it is backwards. But the first play musical we saw was Mrs. Henderson Presents. I know. It's actually a brand new show as of 2015. It was based off of a BBC movie made in 2005, which I didn't know about or ever hear about because, BBC and doesn't always get over to us in the States. But anyway, it was with Judi Dench and Bob Hoskins, in the original movie. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys this again. So, as you can see, these lovely women are just a touch naked behind this sign, and that's what made this show really awesome. So what the show is about, it's based off a true story, and it's actually incredibly accurate. A couple of the characters, probably people that did not exist, but that's okay, because the overall underlying story, it was very, very accurate. So Mrs. Henderson was an old, she was an old widowed lady, and she just had a lot of money from her husband, and she was a little eccentric, and she was just like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a playhouse. So she like bought a theater because she was just looking for something to do later on in life, and she was like, this is gonna be fun. So she bought a theater, and I'm not gonna go into I could go into the whole backstory. Anyway, in the real life, you know, she tried to like put on like a play. It didn't really go well. She was kind of screening movies for a while. They don't really talk about the movie thing in the music. It's fine. Anyway, but she gets this idea because for the first couple of years, they're really not making any money. They start doing this thing called Revue-de-Ville. Reviews were like a big deal back then. Back then, I should tell you, it takes place in like the 1930s. I think it was like 1937 to like 1940. It was like those 3 years or something like that. So reviews were a big deal. It's kind of like vaudeville, but not. Vaudeville was like, you know, someone would come out on stage, they would do an act, leave, some entire different, you know, act would come out on stage, do a thing, they would leave. You know, vaudeville was just a whole bunch of different acts. Revue was similar in that, like, they were different acts, but it was usually the same cast. They were just kind of like doing a menagerie. I don't even know. They were doing they did a couple of, you know, handful of things. They would sing, they would dance, you know, what have you. And, oh, my screen got dark. Okay. Yeah, so it would be the same cast, and they would do different stuff. And Revue was a big deal back then, and they came up with this thing called Revue-de-Ville. And what they did was they did all afternoon review. Like, they started at like 2:30, and they just did review from 2:30 to 11 at night. And I guess they still weren't making money, or they just weren't making, you know, a lot of money or something. I don't know. Anyway, Mrs. Henderson came up with this fantastic idea, and I really like the way they did it in the musical. I don't know, you know, how she came upon the idea in real life, but in the musical, she's handed a bill for like these costumes, and they're, you know, they're losing money, so they're saying like, oh, it's not a bill. They're saying it was the costumes were on loan from the Moulin Rouge, and the Moulin Rouge was going to take them back because they were losing money. And she's just standing there, and she goes, I've been to the Moulin Rouge, and the entire Moulin Rouge does not spend this much on any of their costumes. And then, you know, it's musical, so fun thing, and like they had a lamp behind her, and like a light bulb comes on, and she decides, we don't need costumes. Let's have the girls go out on stage nude. And it was a great idea. Only they were like, how do you do that? Like, how in the world? Like, we're not going to be allowed to let women go out on stage and perform nude. And she was just like, well, we can if they are completely still and they look like, and they act like statues, which is the real genius of this plan. Because, you know, there was this person who censored, you know, Broadway and theatrical and like any kind of show, and they were going to censor this idea of hers, and she basically told them, like, if you don't let us do this because you think that female nudity is inappropriate, then you're going to have to shut down the entire British Museum. Because the entire British Museum is full of paintings and statues of naked women. So it was this whole thing where they had naked women on stage, but they had to be standstill statues. What they used to say was, if it moves, it's rude. So they weren't allowed to move at all on stage. And it was just such an amazing show. It was so empowering. It was the middle of the Blitz. The other thing is they had a motto, we never closed, because during the entire Blitz, they did not close. They closed for 12 days, but it was a mandatory closure of all theaters, so like they had no control over it. But any other day where they were technically allowed to be open, except for those 12 days, they were open. So they had this motto of, we never closed, and it was a big thing in the musical too, and you were just sitting there like, that's why when I felt, I was like, oh my god, this is really based off of, like, they really never closed. Like, it closed for 12 days. It was mandatory. Like, what are you going to do? Anyway, it was a great show. The theater was the Windmill Theater, which, fun fact, we just walked by it, too. It was, like, in the same area. Now I think it's a strip club. It's a table dancers. But I guess it's of the Caliber, not Caliber, definitely, but same idea as before, got some naked women going around. Anyway, it was a great show. It's called Mrs. Henderson Presents. It was, like I said, brand new, 2015. This was the second cast. I think it was originally in Bath. It didn't even start in London. It just started in London like this month. So it was amazing. The woman who played Mrs. Henderson, she was elder. I mean, obviously the woman's not elderly, but she's playing this very elderly. Like, man, did she have some pipes. Oh my God. What a good show. It's one of my new favorites. Straight up, like, so happy I got tickets. Thanks, Papa. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say about Mrs. Henderson Presents. If you ever get to London or if you ever get to see it, go see it. It's so great. Be prepared for nudity, but it's like the classiest kind of nudity too, like it's so empowering. That was the other great thing, was how empowering this idea was for those women. They even, they all talked about it, like they had the thing and then they all ran off stage and, all the girls who were playing the part, obviously they were still acting on, but part of their dialogue was talking about how great they felt, because who can imagine, you go out on stage and they're just yes, this is me, and it's so empowering to the female body, especially in the 1930s. So anyway, that is Mrs. Henderson Presents. Go see it. Okay, so that was musical number 1. And now we're on to musical number 2, which you have most definitely heard of and probably already seen. But I had only ever seen the movie, so we went to go see the stage show, and it was Jersey Boys, which is so much fun to see in London as a Jersey girl. And then you got to see everyone. My dad went, and as everyone was doing the accents, and they were actually all really good at the accent. Obviously, they don't sound like me. They all sound like Joe Pesci, who is actually in the play, because Joe Pesci had somehow knew the Four Seasons. He was in the Old Neighborhood. But yeah, no, Jersey Boys, just as good as it always was. It was so much fun to watch on stage. I don't want to say the choreography, not necessarily, the dancing was great too, but just the stage movement was really great. They had this I don't know how they do it, if this was their idea, if it was the way it was originally. Like I said, it was the first time I've seen it, but they had this balcony type thing, and anytime a character more or less left for the last time, which obviously not the last time, but they were basically done for the rest of the show, except for something at the end or whatever, they would just walk off this balcony thing, and it was so I noticed that the second or third time it happened, I was just that's a really cool way to show people exiting life. I don't mean they died, I just mean the show. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, and we met one of the guys afterwards. We happened by the stage door, and I guess they don't have to come out of a lot of makeup, it's just them, really. So they'd actually already come out of the stage door, and we talked to one of the guys and told him that we were from New Jersey, and he got so worried for a second. He was just oh my God, the accents. He was were they okay? We told him they were very good. Dad was more skeptical of his accent. I thought he did fine. I thought, British came through just a little bit, but nah. Anyway, so Jersey Boys, still going solid after all this time. What fun music. It's Four Seasons. It's Valley and Four Seasons, So I guess that's really all I gotta say about Jersey Boys, because it's been out forever. But, if you haven't seen it, or go see it. The movie's also really good. I hate to be a person who's just you can see the movie instead of the stage show. Obviously, if you can see the stage show, go see the stage show. But I'm not going to lie, the movie actually did a really good job of, showing what was going on stage. As everything was happening, I was, remembering it from the movie. It was, really accurate. The movie followed the show really well. Okay, so now we're on to our third and final stage production. Not a musical, a play. This is what we saw tonight. It was the Railway Children. For all of you out there who don't know about the Railway Children like me, it's based off of a book by E. Nesbit. I guess it's a really popular children's book here in the UK. At least, a lot of people seem to really like it here. And now I kind of really want to read it because it was great. This was so much fun to go see. It was a play, and just the way it was set up. So it was a stage that was set up by King's Cross Station, and the ground there, it's actually owned by Google. And Google is going to be, now this, I should mention, this show has been out since 2008. But it was at like a different theater. They like had it somewhere else before. They had it 2 different, I think, even venues before this one. But they moved it to this venue, and what they did was Google is building a building there on this ground, and while they are getting the designs and the plans all set up, the people from the Railway Children asked them, can we use this space in the meantime to put on a show? So Google was like, sure, because apparently Google's awesome, which we all already knew. Go Google. So they built this station there. They built this, stage there, and the setting, like, it was amazing. It was, you walked into the theater, and it was kind of set up so there was like a railway in the middle. Let's try. Okay, so like imagine like this is the flat stage. So then there's a railway in the middle, and then seats, and then This is getting tricky now. Okay, there's a railway, and then right next to the railway are like little wooden platforms on both sides, and then next to the wooden platforms is like all the theater seating. So people are actually on both sides of the stage, if you can imagine that. It's kind of like theater seating, wooden platforms, railway. And what they would do is they had these really big wooden platforms that they would run across the railway tracks. And so the actors could like run across, and they could like bring them together, and then they would just like be on either side of the tracks, or they would be in the middle of the tracks, like on this wooden platform, which was just a really cool design. And they like they simulated things really well. Like they wanted to simulate trains going through a lot. They would like have all this like wind and what's it called? Fake fog. Yeah, they would have fog coming out and all this stuff. They also had like a little extra platform for them to like run up and around, which was really fun. But the cool thing that we didn't know, you might have been able to read it on the top here. This is the Railway Children, right? Live at King's Cross Station with a real steam train. I shit you not. They had a real train come out on these tracks. There's a picture of it in here. Oh, I opened right up to it. Awesome. Look at that. There's the seating, and there's the wooden platform. A train. There's more wooden platform. We were sitting there, and like I was really caught up in what was going on in the moment the first time that train came out. And so I was like watching, and I was just like really caught up in the acting and, the events, and like about, the train can only come out so fast. It's like a 60-ton train probably. Okay, I don't know if that's true, but they said 60-ton in here, so I'm going with that. So like I was like watching really into the thing, and maybe like 5 or 10 seconds after it started coming out, I like stopped for a second and just like turned and looked at it and went, holy mother of God, that's a real train. Like I was like, oh my God, look at this train. It was really cool. Because who expects them to pull out a train on stage? I don't know. Anyway, if you know the story, then I guess it follows the story really well. At least that's what I heard. If you don't know the story, it's like these 3 kids, 2 girls, 1 boy, they're siblings, and their father has to leave for whatever reason. They don't know. And they've got to move out of, I think they were in London originally. They had to move to another town. And it's kind of just like about their adventures out there. I don't know. I kept saying it was kind of like Little Women. Not in like the whole scope of it. Like, they're just talking about one summer, whereas like Little Women is over the course of like years. But, when you get Little Women, like you get all their little, them running around and like doing plays and stuff. Not that these kids did plays, but they did their own thing. So yeah, it was really good. It's called The Railway Children. I'm going to read that children's book now, and I've been talking to you for 20 minutes, but I mean I got through 2 musicals and a play, so I think I did really good. Like just look at that. Like obviously that's not like from the action, but like they brought a train out on stage. That is so cool. Okay, I'll stop being excited at you. That's probably not fun for you. Anyway, so I guess that was my stage review of Mrs. Henderson Presents The Jersey Boys. Mrs. Henderson does not present The Jersey Boys. Mrs. Henderson Presents The Jersey Boys and The Railway Children. It was a really great show. They were all really, really great. I'm planning on hopefully seeing The End of Longing sometime. Matthew Perry wrote it, and he's in it, and I'm very excited. I'm going to get tickets for that, and it's going to be great. So sorry that everything is so behind here, but now you have a little bit more update on my life, and it's probably, hopefully, more fun for you to watch a video of me instead of reading, but for all I know, you like the reading, and it'll come eventually. So you got that coming for ya. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got right now. I hope everything is going great wherever all of you are. Probably 99% of you are in the U.S. People in Rochester, people back home, random whoever from Ireland was reading. Thank you all for keeping up with my vlog. I really do enjoy doing it. I'm just the worst at actually sitting down and making myself write things. But the funny thing is I write things in my head all the time. I like sit there and actually write paragraphs in my head and then just don't put them on paper for a long time. It's dumb. Why do that? I should just put them on my computer. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat some ice cream or something and catch up on my shows because I'm behind because I watch so much TV. So yeah, thank you all, and I hope everything is going well, and I will see you all soon. So, bye. There we go. Okay, bye.